Greetings, fellow Americans. Susanna for President 2028. Welcome to the 2024 edition of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's Fireside Chats. So we are going to get into the National Recovery Act, and I'm going to go over the first part, which is economics, and there are a total of 4 parts so far. The economics portion is extensive, comprehensive. I believe that it will be easy to understand, though, and that's why I'm doing these videos, so that when the legislation passes through Congress and it's signed into law, you understand exactly what it's supposed to do already. All right, the first portion is the Economic Stability Act. It has 6 parts right now, but these are essential portions. We have to do some adjusting within this area. The first portion is the cost of living to wages ratio adjustment. It's plainly obvious that the cost of living is too high compared to our current wages that we get, especially on the lower end of the wage scale. Now, raising wages to a certain point across all states on a minimum level is going to greatly benefit everyone who's especially just getting into the workforce. Those who are coming out of school, they're getting initial training for whatever position they happen to be in. It's going to benefit them greatly. Now, certain states already have, in fact, most of the states already have higher than $15 an hour for their minimum wage. Most of our states already do. Raising the federal minimum wage to these levels needs to happen. The federal government needs to follow along with what the states are doing. The states are leading the way in this area. That's going to help a lot of our issues with being able to buy our basic essentials. That's going to adjust a bit of the cost of living to wages ratio. The other portion of that is lowering costs, especially of our basic needs. There's going to be a couple of things that go along with this. Lowering the cost of living is going to come in a couple of forms. We're going to pass legislation that caps fuel prices, that enforces fines and investigations into price gouging. We already know of at least one company who is admitted to price gouging. I believe it is important for us to investigate to make sure that it is limited to just one company. But in all likelihood, that might not be the case. We're also going to be capping interest rates on the Federal Reserve. Unfortunately, the Federal Reserve has gotten just as out of hand with their inflation prices as other entities in our economy, especially those that deal with our basic essentials. Capping federal interest rates to 2.5%, and then just allowing it to fluctuate between that and the lowest end, that's going to be where our inflation needs to stay. And that's even if we keep the Federal Reserve. There's also transportation costs that go along with this. Um, Public transportation is necessary. It's not exactly a right, but it is necessary to function in especially large cities. Um, Example is the Seattle Tacoma metropolitan area, uh, Los Angeles, New York. Very large cities, especially, need public transportation, and those costs need to be kept low. The cost for a passenger going one direction, even for the entire length of the route, should only be $1. It's understandable to charge $2, even $2.25 for uh, a 2 hour pass, and it's even more understandable to charge $4.50 to $5 for a day pass. But when our public transportation is increasing prices, like recently here in Vancouver, C-Tran increased their prices to $1.25. That's quite a bit of an increase. 25 cents on the dollar is how much that got increased. That's quite a bit. That does start playing, does start feeding into and causing people to worry about whether or not they're going to be able to afford to buy groceries and be able to get to work. Those different types of situations. Not everyone can afford delivery service. And those are important aspects of our economy now. They are very valuable, especially to those who are unable to leave their homes for whatever reason. Personal transportation is also a big issue. The cost of fuel needs to come down by at least half. We can start out by capping those prices at least $1.50 less than what they currently are right now. So if you're paying $4 a gallon for fuel right now, they should be capped at $2.50. That is going to greatly help our society with transportation. But we're also going to be utilizing some steps through the Climate Cleanup Act to stimulate public transportation and our economy that way. There's also trading. So our economy is based off of trade, different types of trade. Currently, we usually use fiat currency to trade for goods and services. But we have also, in the past, used trading goods for goods, trading an object for another object. The value of something that is being traded for another object doesn't necessarily have to match on a financial scale. It really matters to the person who's trading. So these things really need to be encouraged. Because they will help our economy greatly. People will start getting more of what they need if they are allowed to trade without trying to figure out a monetary value of something. And trading an object for an object isn't necessarily trading a value, a fiat value, or a currency value. So that's important to remember when we are considering our economics and our trading platforms, especially things like, or events like farmers markets and such. The Economic Stability Act also implements and enforces um, things like finding for finding excuse me, finding those who are engorging rental prices and mortgage rates and such like that. Now, some of these things in the economic stability portion of this National Recovery Act, they're they're going to be changed within our titles and how those operate. The entire legislation will be listed on my website. I'm currently changing the website name. Right now it is SusannaForPresident2024.com. And I'll have that listed in the comments as well.